All right, ready, steady, go. How are you all doing? I welcome you all for this one day, one runner habit series. And in this month of April, every single day I'm coming and then I'm just giving you one runner habit. And also, I'm giving a perspective for that particular habit from a runner's mindset and also sharing some tips and techniques for the same, how the same habit can be implemented in your business and in your life. This is Karthik Viswanathan, and today is day number 15, meaning it's habit number 15. And the habit for today is being curious. Right. As a runner, being curious is one of the things which has been like wired within us. Curiosity is kind of the attribute, is one of the attributes, like you can just see for from with most of the runners, most of the joggers, walkers, Ironmans, and any long distance runners, like you can just go for it. Yeah. So it starts off with these kind of basic interesting facts that we want to understand about the different events. The event might be a 3 kilometer event or a kilometer event or a 5 kilometer event. So there might be like so many different events happening across in our local area and interstates, overseas, and we want to understand what are the different kind of events are happening, and within that, like what are the different, I'd say maybe like what is the intensity of each one of those events are, how complicated in terms of the circuits, in terms of the running course, and what is the volume of people that would be turning for as a participation for each one of those events, and are there any kids activities for each one of those events are there, like we would be trying to understand each one of those so from the event perspective, so we become more and more curious to learn more about the events. In that way, we can plan our year well, saying that, okay, so for this particular year, we might be doing 3 half marathons and one full marathon, and I might take my family as a whole family run for 2 of those events. So those kind of things. So that helps us, that curiosity helps us for our planning, right? So that's at like the front outset. And then when it comes to training, so the curious mindset of ours will be driving us to just find out new, innovative, and smart ways of training. So everybody, we will be having our own routine. Yes, I do agree that. But at the same time, we will be trying to look for some of the smart routines or some of the smart workouts or nutrition, which is really helping people or friends of our own network, like getting their own results. We try to understand what they're doing and why they're doing and how they're doing. And then we try to see like whether that is going to be suiting our needs. So that curiosity is helping us to perform ourselves better. Does not matter we do a casual run or a sincere PB setting run, that is a personal best setting run, or we are trying to just achieve the highest volume, that is like I'm going to run 30 kilometers for the very first time, I'm going to run 5 kilometers for the very first time. Irrespective of that, that curiosity leads us to push ourselves to the next level, right? And in terms of the facts, so like whatever the facts, as you all know, like runners would try to understand both most of the numbers around it, what are the personal best, and how many events that I have ran so far, and what is my mileage for this particular week. So we'll be trying to be curious in understanding like what was my performance like last week and what compared to this week, and what was my performance last year and compared to this year, and we might be having the best year maybe like a couple of years earlier, and how was I performing during that time, how was my nutrition. So we'll be trying to be curious in just trying to understand ourselves from the past version, if my past version was the best version related to the version which I'm currently at the moment. So if that's the case, we will be trying to do the thing. So comparisons within us. So that curiosity leads us to just to make us believe back, saying that yes, I have done this particular thing 2 years back, and then I got it in me. Now, if I just line up my physical efforts, line up my nutrition, line up my mindset, then it is also possible to redo the same thing again, to relive my peak or even outperform my earliest personal best in coming days, in coming months, or coming years, right? So that curiosity leads us to go for a long way. And that's why being curious is one of the key habits like most of the runners we will be possessing in. So let's take that particular habit of being curious and how we can apply the same into our business world. As an entrepreneur, as a startup owner, as a small medium business owner, or an owner of a big conglomerate, being curious is one of the key things like you get able to see from these thought leaders, from these entrepreneurs, right? So from my experience and with the interviews with a lot many different entrepreneurs and having helping them with as a mentor with of so many different startups, and also running my own startup and having mentored by super people, so I can just I started to becoming more and more curious in terms of how I operate the business, how I own the business, how I think through the business. So the thought process is being driven by the curiosity. So it is one of the habits that we need to be consciously cultivating if we don't have it by nature. As I always say, every single habit can be nurtured and can be created at first. It can be nurtured and then it can be integrated into our own lifestyle. So for an entrepreneur, I can give you three tips or few tips, I would just say. The first and foremost would be being open, being having an open mindset, right? So in that case, if you are one of the person if you're one of the persons like always saying I don't know, or I don't know the answer. So if you're trying to just beating yourself on that particular fact, so let's start doing that, right? So with from that particular state of I don't know that, so maybe like we can start asking the question of how what should I do in order for me to just obtain that particular answer. Just turning up our mindset a little bit, not too much at the start, a little bit. That is how you can start building that open mindset. And being open means you are inviting the habit of being curious, right? And again, like most of the times, like if you're building up a business, so if you're a solopreneur or if you're running a lean with your team, most of the times, like knowingly or unknowingly, you would be, or we would be, I would say, because even I do the same thing sometimes, so we would be going in a mode of business operator, right? So we would be the person who would be doing all sorts of things for a day in, day out as an operation perspective, which is good. But most of the times, like we would be going on the same cycle on and on and on and on, right? So that's why I really urge you to just shift your mindset from time to time from being an operator to become being owner. Operator mindset to owner mindset. So in that way, when you start thinking through your business as an owner, that rather than just being an operator, you would be thinking through the ways that how you can improve. You would be trying to ask the questions like why the particular effort is being wasted in this particular process, or why you are spending more amount of money in that particular campaign. So those kind of things, like when you step out a bit, and then if you think through the lens of an owner, you could be asking the questions. Your mindset would be totally different, and that will be triggering you to ask some of the valid questions which you wouldn't be asking once if you are into the cycle, once you are diving deeper into your operational cycles. So maybe like an hour every week, you can just think through, you can brainstorm yourself, just put yourself drop yourself as a business operator, just come out of your business and see as an owner, and jot down your own areas like where you wanted to improve. So that curious mindset, that's how like you build your own curiosity in your own business. Maybe you can do the brainstorming with your mentor or with your spouse, if that's possible. So and then if your business partners, if that's possible. So it just purely like depending upon like how you want to take it across, with whom you want to discuss. But please do that 1 hour owner mindset practice. And the third one, ask questions relentlessly. Okay. So as a kid, like we all know, like as a kid, we would be asking so many different questions. We'll be starting off with like, what is that? What is this? What is that? And then we would be trying to ask like how this is happening, why this is happening, right? So by the age of 4, I think the average, like we would have asked like nearly 4,000 questions. So that is a stat. Like I can just share you the stat bit later. So that's the thing. But as we grow older, the questioning power, we just underestimate ourselves, and then we starting to reduce the number of questions. So start increasing your number of questions to as a start, right? So that by itself will be really, really encouraging you to just think through some of the critical aspects of your business. So none of the questions is like, for me, like none of the question is a dumb question or so. So maybe like if I don't know the answer for that particular point in time, even if you kill me, I don't know the answer, right? So if I'm going to ask that question, so don't think that what other people would be thinking through, because their judgment is not going to help. Even if they think me as a fool, so be it. Let me be a fool for that particular moment rather than dying as a fool without knowing the things, right? Of my own business. So that's why just be confident in asking the questions and start asking these questions in a very in a very in a sensible way, because I always believe in this one, and most beautiful questions get a beautiful answer. So the more you're starting to ask the questions, you become better at it. So the more you become better at it, then you would be asking more and more critical questions at critical time and to critical people. So, and in that way, like you would be getting some answers, which is very, very relevant to your own business. So that's how like you build your curious mindset. That's how you become curious. Be open. Don't always go with the I don't know mindset. Rather than just twist that, give it a little bit of twist. What you can do in order to bust that I don't know, right? And then uh, change your operator mindset to owner mindset and practice 1 hour every week. And then the last one, ask questions relentlessly. That's for the business side of things. And let's take this habit of being curious and let's look how we can apply into our own personal life, whether it is health, wealth, or relationship, anything, how we can become more curious, right? So one of the things like which often like most of us we would be facing it like, um, I'm bored, right? I'm bored of doing this particular thing. I'm bored of going to a supermarket and getting all the grocery list for the week. I'm bored of just going and doing my household chores, right? I'm bored of doing my gardening. So those kind of things. That's how like it all comes into our life, right? So that's because most of the relationship issues, like it will be kicking off. I mean, I'm talking about a family where with the couples. So most of the issues, if you just look closely, this is an actual statistics fact. Most of the issues will be the source of these conflicts between the couples will be because of the household chores. So let's look into that and let's see like how we can become more curious in these elements. One tip I could able to give you, one tip I could share from my own experience, which I have been sharing with so many of my friends. Try to just replace the boring activity with some interesting activity. How you're going to do it, this is where my tip is. Yeah, you would have heard like people saying this, like try to replace your boring activity with an interesting activity. One tip, one actionable tip, if you wish, try to include a flavor of your favorable activity while you're doing your boring activity, whatever you claim as boring. Let's go back to the same example of if you're bored. Say, for example, if I'm bored, just example, if I'm bored to go to the supermarket and buy my weekly groceries, what I would be doing is like I would be trying to introduce a flavor of something into my which I really like during this particular activity. Maybe like if I'm because I'm really excited about like to see like how these aisle management, how the business is running from a supermarket perspective, and what are all the things, how these floor management is happening. So I'd be just going there and see like what are all the things, what are all the changes that is happening, how the bakery is being arranged, how the fresh vegetables are being arranged over there. So I try to just introduce my the flavor of my favorite activity into this boring activity. Or I might be looking for the deals happening on that particular week, and then I will be sharing the same thing to my close friends, like saying that hey, there is a deal going up on this particular product which you always like, go and purchase it straight away. So that kind of thing. So try to do that. In that way, like, you become more curious. So don't just say that, yes, I'm being bored out of that activity. When you start introducing one of your flavor of your favorite activity, then even the boring activity will slowly convert it into an interesting activity. Another example would be like household chores. Yeah. So say vacuuming your house, or watering your plants, your garden, or moving your garden. If you deem that as a boring activity for you, maybe like if you like music, just switch on the music, put a earphone, and then just enjoy that. Or if you are a podcast person, or if you are listening to this podcast, or video podcast, or audio podcast, just listen to this one, right? So in that way, like, you are introducing a flavor of your favorite activity in your mundane activities, and converting the mundane activity to a joyful one. So that's one of the tips, like how you can become more and more curious. And then ask questions. Question the status quo. If you don't understand it, please ask it. Okay, as some wise people would always say, stay hungry, stay foolish, ask more questions. Yeah. So that's the habit that I just wanted to present to you all, and these are the techniques that I just wanted to present to you all when it comes to being curious, right? So don't let this machine life of us to just kill the inner child within us. Let's consciously act upon that particular state of mind. Let's introduce some fun-filled, curious mindset by asking some more and more questions, and bring more joy into our daily life. This is Karthik Viswanathan, and please do me a favor. Going forward, whenever you see a runner, walker, jogger on the road, on the park, on the gym, just wave at them, give a thumbs up to them, nod your head at them with an acknowledgement, and smile at them. That will lift their spirit, their mindset. And that in turn will lift your spirit, your mindset. And this rapport will bring a positivity with both of you. And that will go for a long way. This is Karthik Viswanathan, and thanks for listening to me today. And I will see you all in the next one. Until then, bye bye.